Hey, welcome to the Rerun Lounge. I'm Remy, and Kiki's Delivery Service was one of the earlier Ghibli films that I watched. My Neighbor Totoro was the first, and it is also one of my favorite movies of all time. I tend to favor the easygoing, more down-to-earth Ghibli films, and those two really hit the spot. Like My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service is a simple story with coming-of-age themes. The story follows a 13-year-old witch who sets out in the world to learn independence. She sets up a delivery service in the seaside town called Koriko, and she meets all sorts of people and experiences the ups and downs of life. My first experience with the movie was the Disney dub, produced in 1997, but later released on home media in 1998. I was pretty young and thoroughly enjoyed it, but didn't quite appreciate it the same way I do today. The movie can be enjoyed by all ages, but I suspect it might speak to an audience in their teens or older, as it highlights problems that affect that audience a bit more, such as self-image issues.
It was so terrible. I wish I had something prettier to put on besides this robe.
Uncertainty of one's place in the world, and depression. What many don't know is that nearly a decade before Disney got the movie, a now defunct studio known as Streamline Pictures dubbed it into English in 1989. This wasn't their first tango with a Ghibli film either. They also dubbed My Neighbor Totoro shortly before Kiki. Both movies were dubbed so that they could be used by Japan Airlines on their trans-Pacific flights. This was done at the request of the Japanese publishing company Tokuma Shoten, and Carl Macek produced both dubs for Totoro and Kiki. I spoke briefly about Carl Macek in my original My Neighbor Totoro dub vs. dub. It's worth a watch after this vid. But if you're unfamiliar with him or just need a refresher, he is a controversial figure that drastically changed anime when localizing them for the American audience. His most prominent work is Robotech, a creation made by stitching together three unrelated anime that include Super Dimensional Fortress Macross, Super Dimensional Cavalry Southern Cross, and Genesis Climber Mospira. Despite two of these shows being from the Super Dimensional trilogy, they do tell different stories. Though all three shows did have a similar visual style, making them easier to Frankenstein together. Some see his work as helpful in making anime more mainstream in the West, and personally I don't approve of these alterations, but I do see some value in some of the things that he's done. Streamline's dub of Kiki is fairly difficult to come by, as Tokuma Shoten did not give Streamline the rights to distribute it in America. Instead, it was featured on the Japanese laserdisc of Kiki's Delivery Service released in the Ghibli ga Ippai box set, a Japanese exclusive set of laserdiscs released in 1996. With the Streamline dub being fairly obscure, this leaves Disney's dub as the most accessible and most well-known English dub of the movie. Or at least that applies to Disney's 2010 re-release of the movie. But what about their original version? Haha, yes. The plot thickens. It's crazy but true. Three English versions of Kiki's Delivery Service exist. The first being Streamline Pictures' 1989 dub, then Disney's 1997 dub, and lastly an edit of the 1997 dub released in 2010 that more closely adheres to the original vision of the film. Before pitting up Streamline against Disney, it would be a shame not to quickly cover Disney's 1997 offense to Kiki's Delivery Service. Also, please be aware that it seems Studio Ghibli and Miyazaki alike approved Disney's decisions. I don't know how they felt about the changes. They could have loved them or hated them. I'm just saying that they did get approval. So make of that what you will. Let's start small. Extra sound effects were placed in to add a little life in some areas, such as this scene where Kiki flies through a crowd of people.
Well, we're not too conspicuous.
Fair, I'm not against that, but that was Disney's gateway to noise abuse. They proceeded to add or alter sound wherever they could, changing the film's score, making characters talk all the time.
Oh, great. Now I'm suddenly the flight attendant.
And having no appreciation for atmosphere. Among the musical additions were pieces composed by Paul Chihara. And even a very plucky rendition of Edvard Grieg's In the Hall of the Mountain King.
Kiki, look! Run!
Please, no. The original Japanese opening theme, Message of Rouge, and closing theme, Yasashisa ni Susumareta Nara, performed by Yumi Matsutoya, credited as Yumi Arai by the way, were both replaced by the English songs Soaring and I'm Gonna Fly.
One day, the whole world looks like an open page.
Written and performed by Sidney Forrest. Music can add so much to a scene when it is done correctly, but it was needlessly shoehorned in to make the movie more marketable in Disney's eyes. If you want examples of dialogue when there were none, look no further than this little black cat, Gigi. He would rattle on constantly.
Hold on! All right, first, don't panic. Second, don't panic. And third, did I mention not to panic?
What are we gonna do? We can't stay up!
It's beautiful flying weather, and gee, but we're flying awfully high. You're getting very good at your flying. Yes, you're just able to fly higher and higher and higher, aren't you? Perhaps we got off on the wrong paw. Allow me to introduce myself. The name's Gigi.
It sucks, because I love Phil Hartman as Gigi, but they just directed him so poorly. And worst of all...
Kiki, can you hear me?
Man, I thought I was a goner for sure, but my friend Kiki saved me.
Gigi!
Not only is that a poorly tacked on line, but it changes the ending of the story. Kiki does lose her ability to communicate with Gigi by the end of the film, and it is a plot important detail. It shows how she has grown up and moved to a new chapter in her life. Miyazaki once explained that Gigi is the immature side of Kiki, and so after maturing to a new stage in her life, she left behind the ability to communicate with him. It's a bittersweet part of being a witch. Just as we grow up and leave behind aspects of ourselves, for better or for worse. Disney, however, didn't see this as a good enough storybook ending, so we got this.
Kiki, can you hear me?
Fortunately, just about everything was reverted back for the 2010 re-release of Kiki's Delivery Service. Film score, reverted. Added dialogue, removed. Atmosphere, restored. Only some of the sound effects added remain, and well, I kinda like that. Disney's 2010 release of Kiki's Delivery Service is so much more accurate and respectful to the original film. But is Streamline's dub able to keep up, or did Carl Macek get a little too busy making changes? It's time to pit Streamline against Disney once more. What better way to start than by looking at the main characters of the film? Kiki is the titular character of the movie, a 13-year-old witch who runs a small delivery service. She is cheery, polite, and very brave. Look at her roaming around in that night sky. After opening up a delivery service, she developed a strong sense of responsibility and commitment to her customers, making sure that every job is completed, even when things go awry. She can be a bit naive sometimes and let unpleasant realities affect her, but eventually she learns how to manage any struggles that come her way. Lisa Michelson voiced Kiki in Streamline's dub of the movie. She was also the voice of Satsuki in My Neighbor Totoro. She essentially gave Kiki the same voice as she did for Satsuki, bright and energetic.
That's beautiful. They were able to fly that high up with the wind. Nanny, this is May, my sister. And I'm Satsuki.
But this time, slightly reeled back for a tad more maturity.
That woman told me to give you this message as soon as I could.
Kiki is a bit older than the 11-year-old Satsuki and doesn't emote as much, but when she does, Lisa Michelson has no trouble doing so.
Yeah, you bet I will. I'll do my very best for you. Oh, you're such a wonderful person.
As is Disney's way, they deck out their dub with stars. The first being a 16-year-old Kirsten Dunst to voice Kiki.
Look at this city. A place like this would be great to live in.
I was really surprised to find this out. I only knew her as Mary Jane in 2002's Spider-Man.
When she got out of the car and you saw her for the first time, you grabbed me and said, "Aunt May? Aunt May? Is that an angel?"
No, you idiot, that's Kiki. Kirsten also does a great job bringing Kiki to life with a youthful vigor.
Your city is so amazing, and what a beautiful clock tower.
And a bit of sass not found in Lisa Michelson's take.
Kiki, in the city, you can't just run out into the street.
I'm sorry. We're still alive, aren't we?
For Pete's sake, will you stop jumping out into the street? We're not at home.
I'm sorry. I won't forget.
Actually, Kirsten's Kiki is a bit spicy at times, like when she mocks Gigi.
Meow. Why are you talking like a cat? Meow. What are you talking like a cat for?
Or snips back at him.
The geese were kind enough to warn us of that wind, but would you listen?
Oh, be quiet.
They were kind enough to warn us of that wind, but you didn't listen to them.
Okay, you're right.
There's also this slight attitude when she can't check into a hotel.
Do you have some identification?
Oh, never mind.
Show me some piece of identification.
Never mind then.
I appreciate the bite she can have. Kirsten, like Lisa, also has no issues offering up a variety of shouts or gasps when the movie calls for it. Both voice actors are excellent, but I do have very small criticisms of both. In this one scene where Kiki breaks out into unhinged laughter, I did not find Lisa Michelson's laughter to be nearly as convincing as Kirsten's.
What are you laughing at?
As for Kirsten, I felt she was inconsistent in pitch at times. Sometimes she made her voice a little too high, causing Kiki to sound much younger and a little funny too.
Thank you. My name's Kiki and I'm a witch.
I love both versions of Kiki and think they both performed equally well, but I am partial to Lisa Michelson. Honestly, I think part of it might be my nostalgia from growing up with her playing Satsuki in My Neighbor Totoro. Moving on to Gigi, he is a little black cat and Kiki's familiar. He's a little skittish, a little cowardly, and a little snarky.
Huh. Pardon me, Miss Snooty Cat.
Huh. Cheap baggage. What a snob she is.
He accompanies Kiki on her journey out into the world and offers support. In the Streamline version, Gigi is voiced by Kerrigan Mahan, who gave him a somewhat nasally voice that complements his apprehensive nature, and it works great.
I disagree. I think it is much better that we leave with extreme decorum and great dignity. Know what I mean?
He really pulls off that sidekick character vibe.
Oh, for the love of Mike, at this rate, I'll be a white cat by morning.
But in the Disney version, Phil Hartman voices Gigi, and I am in love with it. Sadly, this was his final voice acting role before his death in 1998.
Wake up, you're supposed to be minding the store.
He also had a nasally quality about his voice, but not to the extent of Mahan. He wasn't clear and booming like when he does Troy McClure, however.
O Princess fair, willst thou grant me thine dainty hoof in marriage?
Hartman's voice works so well on those sarcastic quips Gigi has too.
Gigi, you've got to come see the ocean. It's beautiful.
Big deal. Just a big puddle of water.
As you can tell, I'm quite a fan of Phil Hartman's Gigi, though I still enjoyed Kerrigan Mahan's take.
Somebody told me she designs fashions.
Well, personally, I'm not terribly fond of her conceited cat.
So, Kiki and Gigi are the main protagonists of the movie, but everyone they encounter is also very important. They are the people who support Kiki and drive the story forward. The first of these characters is Tombo, also known as Kapuri. Kiki first encounters him after she has a run-in with the law. He saves her butt by creating a clever distraction. Tombo is fascinated by Kiki and her ability to fly, since aviation is his passion. But his first encounter with her doesn't go too well, and she brushes him off as a delinquent. Eddie Frierson voices Tombo in the Streamline dub. He offers a dorky take on the character, sounding a little young, goofy, and geeky.
It was a pretty great plan to get rid of that cop, huh? That was me back there. I was the one that kept yelling thief. Hey, you're a real witch flying on a broom, right?
It's a bit comical, but I think the voice is very fitting of his appearance and his general friendly and silly attitude.
Funny, my mom tells me the same thing. You good for nothing, quit looking up at the sky and get back to your books.
Disney's Matthew Lawrence didn't go as comical as Streamline and instead sounds like a down-to-earth young teen.
You know, miss, I love flying too. Can I see your broom? Hey, wait!
His voice is deeper and a bit more mature sounding.
How great would it be to go around the world in a dirigible like that? Of course, you were flying since you were very young, huh?
Matthew Lawrence does an excellent job and his voice is fitting in its own way, but I think he sounds just a bit generic compared to Eddie Frierson.
Why don't I bring you here whenever you want and train myself at the same time?
You're a very nice person.
Huh? You just found that out?
If you like, I could bring you here whenever you want and train myself at the same time.
You're a very nice person.
Huh? You mean you just found out?
I find that Frierson's Tombo works in favor of him being an aviation nerd and somewhat clownish. It left a bigger impression on me as a whole after viewing both movies. After Kiki's run-in with this clown, she meets Osono, a very kind and very pregnant woman who runs the Guchoki Pan Bakery, or Guchoki Panya in the Japanese version, though Disney calls it the Good Cooking Pan Bakery.
Hello, Good Cooking Pan Bakery. Hello, Guchoki Pan Bakery.
Side note, the name Guchoki Panya is a pun on rock, paper, scissors. Rock being gu, scissors being choki, paper being pa, and bakery being panya. Anyway, getting back to Osono. She houses Kiki in a spare room and lets her run her delivery service from the bakery. She also watches out for the girl by nudging her towards new friends.
And be sure to deliver it to him direct.
Taking care of her when she is sick, and being lenient with rent when Kiki needs a break after losing her ability to fly.
Please let me stay in my room upstairs.
Well, I don't care. You can stay. Will your powers come back as soon as you've had some rest?
She is voiced by Alexandra Kinworthy in the Streamline dub and gives Osono a slightly breathy and gentle voice.
There you go. Sure I can. Oh, hi. Please, come on in. I'll be just a minute.
She comes off as a really caring and attentive motherly figure.
There are many kinds of people in this town, and some of them will like you. Take me, for instance. I like you very much.
Tress MacNeille offers her voice to Osono in Disney's dub.
Thanks for returning the pacifier. Your new delivery girl is really quite special.
She is a seasoned voice actor that lent her voice to many characters already. Just check out The Simpsons.
So Bart's got something you can't learn in school. Zazz.
Futurama.
No one messes with Ma.
Or even Daisy Duck.
Tell him, Donald. Tell him how we're gonna cream him.
She does not disappoint. Tress MacNeille's Osono has a stronger voice and especially hearty laughs.
You know, it'll take some time to get regular customers. I'll make you a deal. Since I'm expecting a baby, I could use help. If you mind the store once in a while, I'll let you have the room in the phone.
This version of Osono feels more like a protective motherly figure. I can't find any fault in any of their performances. They are both wonderful, and each version highlights various qualities of Osono's personality that I find very important. I can't choose one over the other here. I enjoy both equally. It was bound to happen eventually. Now for Ursula. Originally known as the Woman or Bird Lady, she is a young tomboyish woman that lives alone in the woods as a painter, which sounds like the best life ever. Ursula is a very important woman that is also rarely seen. She helps Kiki manage her depression. Edie Merman voiced her in Streamline stuff. She comes off as spirited and carefree. It seems she has a very slight accent that I can't quite put my finger on.
How about we work some kind of deal? Well, you didn't come and pay me a visit, so I had to come here and visit you.
She also emphasizes certain words, I suppose in an attempt to sync with the character's mouth better.
You're beautiful just the way you are. Say, piece of cake.
And lastly, she says this.
That's my girls.
This line was later fixed in the Disney version.
That's my girl.
Janine Garofalo voiced Ursula in Disney stuff.
You think my problems will
go away? That's right. It's gonna be fine, I promise.
I get the same spirited and carefree vibes from her, but without the quirks Edie Merman added to the role.
You're just about through, okay?
Though I do have a little complaint about Janine Garofalo's Ursula. Sometimes she sounds a little harsher than Streamline's version. Her delivery comes off as either annoyed or almost antagonistic compared to her Streamline counterpart.
Anybody here? Yes, stop shouting. I'm on the roof. What do you want?
Anybody here? Yeah. I can't come down right now. Why don't you come up?
What do you want?
Oh, well, you have a black cat in your cabin window.
What do you want?
Oh, well, that stuffed black cat you put behind your window?
This is only during Kiki's first meeting with her, and she does chill out afterwards. I guess for someone not expecting a loud girl to visit her lonely cabin, it makes sense. But I tend to lean towards Streamline's more relaxed and welcoming take by Edie Merman.
So why was it alone in the forest, huh?
That's where I dropped it.
I found it in the forest a little while ago.
Would you give it back to me, please?
I do want to note something that I feel is important about Ursula. In the Japanese version, she is voiced by Minami Takayama, the same woman who voiced Kiki. This was a deliberate choice. She is a character that Kiki can relate to, and that is part of the reason she finds Ursula to be so easy to talk to about her issues. So it is interesting to have the same voice actress also voice Ursula. I'm curious how it would have been if Disney or Streamline pulled that off. The last of the side characters is Madam, an old woman who hired Kiki to bring her granddaughter a herring and pumpkin pie. Gross. I want to try it. Kiki helps her bake the pie, and while it is cooking, does a little housework for her and becomes attached to the kindly old woman. Streamline's Madam is voiced by Melanie McQueen. She stands out in the movie as being one of the few characters with an obvious accent, aside from this guy.
Tell me you have a delivery service, am I right?
They tell me you have a delivery service.
McQueen gives Madam a transatlantic accent, typically given to upper-class folk found in America.
What? Oh my goodness, is it that time already? What a pleasant surprise. Please come in and make yourself at home, my dear.
You might know a certain psychologist that has one.
Well, I suppose you were Miss Popular in high school.
I would say yes.
I'm guessing that explains why, too.
It's an interesting choice to go with, especially since Kiki's delivery service is based off towns in Sweden, particularly Stockholm and Visby. But I don't think Streamline was aware of that. Disney didn't go with any distinguishable accent for Madam. Debbie Reynolds voiced her with a kindly and gentle voice, one that you might expect from a nice old grandma, which makes sense considering she is literally a nice old grandma.
Oh my, what a pretty witch you are. I'm so sorry, but that special treat you were supposed to deliver isn't ready yet.
Both takes on Madam are fairly similar, being a kindly and approachable person. The real difference between them really boils down to the accent. I'm very fond of both takes on this character and don't have a preference. So, do you want your Madam with or without an accent? Minor characters are the characters with almost no lines whatsoever, but at least are named, sometimes. If they aren't named, then at least they are notable for their impact on the story. I won't have a ton to say about any of these guys, but I can't not talk about them. So let's go in order of appearance. Dora is an elderly customer of Kiki's mom and even first appears in the same scene as her. She is voiced by Diane Michelle in the Streamline dub, who gives her a whispery charm.
Your little baby is 13? My, but time flies so quickly, doesn't it?
You can tell that's a younger person attempting to do an old lady voice. Also, she totally botches this line.
But I have to say this, there's nothing works as well for my rheumatism.
This is what I remember Dora for. That is her legacy. Disney's Faye DeWitt gives Dora a bit more of a lively voice, which I tend to prefer.
Your little baby is 13? My goodness, but time flies so quickly.
She sounds much more believable than Streamline's Dora, though I do like this little line from Streamline's script.
Her eyes shining. I always thought you were a teensy bit stuck up.
It's not only more in line with the Japanese version, but it adds a nice detail about her history with Kiki's mother. Kokiri is Kiki's mother and resident witch in Kiki's hometown, Karikia. She brews potions for the elderly to help them in their day-to-day lives. As a mother, she is a little wary that Kiki is leaving earlier than anticipated, but supports her decision. Barbara Goodson voices this witch in Streamline's dub, but doesn't do her signature witch voice.
Did you bring your father's radio to the park without permission again?
She sounds much more inviting as Kokiri. Kath Soucie has a gentler take in Disney's version.
Did you borrow your father's radio again without asking?
Both voice actors are great, but unfortunately neither really get to add their own spice to the role, which is completely fair considering Kokiri only has a handful of lines.
You see, it's one of our old customs. When a witch turns 13, she has to leave home for a year to begin her training.
It's one of our oldest customs that when a witch turns 13, she has to leave home for a year to begin her training.
Okino is Kiki's equally supportive father, who is also anxious about Kiki leaving. John Dentona voices him in the Streamline version with a softer voice.
I'll expect you then. Thanks.
While Jeff Bennett voices him with a deeper voice in Disney's dub.
Yeah, I'll expect you then. Thanks.
I prefer Jeff Bennett in this role, but I don't care for the script with him. In Streamline's version, he refers to Kiki as a witch, like in the Japanese version.
Let's see what our new witch looks like.
While in Disney's, he refers to her as a princess.
My little princess.
I get it. You probably don't want to call your daughter a witch, but come on, she's a witch. Alright, next is an interesting character, the senior witch, the only other witch in the entire movie, other than Kokiri of course. On this fan wiki, it insists she is named Arisa, but that is not mentioned anywhere else than this hard to read dark green on blue background, so I'm gonna ignore that. Kiki meets the senior witch on her way to Koriko and has a short conversation with her. She is nearing the end of her training and about ready to return home. For not even being named, I actually have a lot to say about her. Streamline and Disney's takes on her are surprisingly different, and for being such a blip in the film, I think she holds a lot of importance. Wendy Lee voices her in the Streamline version, and she sounds mature and a tad snobbish.
Oh, yes. Lots can go wrong. But since I'm proficient in fortune-telling, I'm able to handle anything.
I think that style of voice might come naturally to her considering some of her past roles.
Hey, I may not be the sweetest person in the world, but I'm no monster.
In Disney's dub, Debbie Derryberry. Oh, she voiced Draculaura.
Never works. Sometimes being a vampire really sucks.
And Jimmy Neutron. Who's that? She voiced the senior witch in Disney's dub, and she sounds really snooty, to the point that she almost comes off like a bully, at least in my opinion.
Yes, I tell fortunes about love. Wow. And what exactly is your skill?
Yes, in fact, I've started telling love fortunes lately.
Wow.
What are you going to do with your skill?
Combine that with Disney's script, and I think the character comes off as really unlikable.
That's my town down there.
It's so big.
Yes, to you, I'm sure it looks big. I hope you don't have too tough a time.
Thanks.
That's really rude and out of nowhere, and that last bit seems more like a jab at Kiki. I always disliked this character since my first exposure to her through Disney's dub, but after viewing Streamline's Kiki, I actually don't mind her at all.
That's my town down there. It's not big or terribly interesting, but I like it. Good luck to you.
Thanks.
She comes off as snobbish, but ultimately kind. Not sarcastic, but just prideful, and the well-wishing does feel authentic. There are people out there like that in the world. People who are well-meaning, but just stuck up. I prefer Streamline's take on the senior witch. It is a good first encounter for Kiki. Someone kind, but just a little abrasive. Not enough to upset Kiki. We meet the rotten people later. This witch is the equivalent of dipping your toe in the water.
Hey, good evening.
It was. You're new, aren't you?
Good evening.
It was. Newcomer, I suppose.
I feel like Disney didn't quite understand what sort of encounter she was supposed to be and leaned too much into making her, well, a total witch.
And what exactly is your skill?
Upon first entering Kokiro, Kiki encounters the clock tower caretaker and asks him if a witch lives in the city. Greg Snegoff voices him in the Streamline dub. This isn't his first time with Streamline though. He also voiced Tatsuo in My Neighbor Totoro.
Well, ghosts are a lot harder to see, but when you suddenly move from a lighted room to a dark one, you can't see for a second, and that's when the dust bunnies come out. Got it?
Greg puts on his best old man impression and...
Morning.
Do you know if there are any other witches in this town?
No. Can't say as I've seen a single one of them lately.
Sure. That is to say, seen her.
Louis Arquette voices him in Disney's dub and sounds a lot more convincing as an old man than Greg.
Do any witches live in this town?
Why, nobody's seen one around here in a long time.
Later, Kiki encounters a police officer after she gets into a little trouble. Steve Kramer voices the police officer in the Streamline dub.
Of course, if it's necessary. I have to do that because you're a minor.
I don't know why, but his voice reminds me of a toned-down Inspector Gadget.
Must be jammed. Just a little screw with the Gadget twist driver.
Matt K. Miller voices him in the Disney dub, and again, there isn't much for me to say about him.
Of course, I'm going to tell your parents. I have to do that with every minor.
He has so few lines, and the script in both versions of the movie is very similar, leaving little room for the voice actors to bring their own flair to the role. The next character is another interesting one, Osono's husband Fukuo. He works alongside Osono at the bakery and is the strong, silent type. He only has a couple of short lines in both Streamline and Disney's dub. Again, Gregory Snegoff voices him in the Streamline dub.
Hey, look!
That's his only line. John Hostetter voices him in the Disney dub.
Hey, look at that!
That's his only line. What am I supposed to say here? They're fine. Maki is the neighbor woman that provides Kiki with her very first job, to deliver a plush cat to her nephew Cat. Laura Cody gives her a youthful voice in Streamline's dub, and
I've been hearing wonderful things about you. Do you think you'd be able to deliver this by tonight at the latest?
Julia Fletcher offers a more mature, somewhat breathy voice in Disney's dub.
Osono's told me great things about you. Do you think you can deliver this by tonight?
I think both renditions are just great, but I'm leaning towards Laura Cody here, and I'm basing my decision on this line.
You are a cute little witch.
I just find it funny for some reason. Disney just calls her a charming girl.
What a charming girl.
Maybe I just like it when people observe that Kiki is a witch, or maybe I think it's just a little condescending to talk to someone like that. Either way, I found it a bit silly. Laura Cody from Streamline also lends her voice to her own nephew, Ket. She does a great impression of an energetic young boy and emotes very well.
It's my present! It's from Auntie! Yay! Give me my present!
She's great, but I gotta give this to Disney. Pamela Adlon, voice of King of the Hill's Bobby Hill.
That's my purse! I don't know you!
And Recess's Spinelli.
Lesson 1. Your equipment.
Voices Ket in Disney's dub.
It must be my present from Auntie! Yay! Give it to me!
For being there only a couple minutes, it was a really fun choice. She doesn't use the exact Bobby Hill voice, but you can tell it's her.
Come on, you stupid bird! I got a brand new home for you!
Come on, Birdie! I'm gonna put you in a bigger house, come on!
Ket's mother, who is not named, is voiced by Diane Michelle in the Streamline dub. She also voiced Dora. This time she isn't putting on an old woman impression and sounds much better as a younger woman.
A bit late, aren't you? After my sister telephoned, we were wondering where you were.
Julia Fletcher returns in the Disney dub to voice Ket's mother.
You're a bit late. After my sister telephoned, we were wondering where you were.
It's a nice choice considering she voices her sister Maki, and they have similar qualities. This is another character with so few lines that I can't find any faults in the performance. So I'm basing my decision on this scene.
Honey, did you hear me? Cat, honey!
Cat, did you hear me? Cat, turn off the TV!
I like Disney's Julia Fletcher here. Now for Barsa. She is an elderly woman who helps Madame in her house. She is very fun. And she also has a thirst for thrills.
I'm the adventuresome type.
Or does she have a thirst for kills?
My, how terrible.
Edie Merman, who also voiced Ursula, voices Barsa. Again, Streamline is having someone put on an impersonation of an elderly person, and it is pretty easy to tell.
Madam, the delivery girl is here.
Do you think you're fooling me, Streamline? I'm not convinced here. Edie McClurg. Nice, they both have the same first name, Edie. McClurg voices her in the Disney version. She sounds much more convincing as an elderly woman in Disney's dub.
Oh, madam, the delivery girl is here.
My only complaint is the reveal that she is playing around on Kiki's broom. I don't particularly like the vrooms that she is making.
Awful having you come here for nothing.
Barsa!
Barsa!
No, it's not distracting or anything. I just really like the blatant cut to her playing around on the broom without any idea she is doing it in Streamline.
I feel just awful for having you come here for nothing. Barsa!
Disney kinda sets up that she is messing around and spoils that reveal. Despite that, I do like Disney's Barsa more.
Yes, this is much better.
And now finally, the last character that is worth mentioning, Madam's granddaughter, or as Miyazaki calls her, Pot Pie Girl. Again, I feel she is very important, like the Senior Witch, despite her limited screen time. Pot Pie Girl is a spoiled young girl around Kiki's age, and her first truly negative experience on the job. In the Streamline dub, Wendy Lee voices her, just as she did the Senior Witch. She brings that same energy from the role, but amplified and completely rotten.
I told Grandma I didn't want that.
Sherry Lynn voices this brat in the Disney dub, and matches Wendy Lee's efforts nicely.
Oh no, I told Grandma I didn't want that.
I thoroughly dislike this character in both versions, and that means they both did a great job. I'm going to give this to Streamline's Wendy Lee though, not because she outperformed Sherry Lynn, but because I find it neat that the same voice was used on the Senior Witch from earlier, along with the Pot Pie Girl. While the Senior Witch is a slightly snobby but kind girl, an idea of what is to come, Pot Pie Girl is Kiki's first truly awful experience. She is rude to Kiki.
Yes, what do you want? I have a delivery. But it's completely wet. Yes, what do you want? I have a delivery. But it is soaking wet.
And causes Kiki to be disheartened by her attitude towards her kindly grandmother's gift.
Oh boy, Grandma sent over another one of her crummy herring pies again. Oh, Grandma sent me another one of her crummy herring pies again.
Kiki also learns at this point that despite the dangers and hardships she will go through, all the sacrifices she will make or how much she will suffer, her job is ultimately thankless and can sometimes just end with a door slammed in her face.
I hate Grandma's stupid pies.
All of these realizations hit her at once with Pot Pie Girl, and it is the beginning of Kiki's spiral into depression.
I hate Grandma's stupid pies.
Other than the characters having new voices, there are various other modifications done to the script between the Streamline and Disney version. It's a bit funny since Disney did have access to Streamline's original script. Tokuma Shoten offered it to Disney for use as subtitles, assuming that it was an accurate translation of the Japanese film. That's why the subtitles can stray a little from what's happening on screen.
I'm gonna put my paws together and pray you're not serious.
Of course I am. You know, ever since I turned 13, I've been excited about making this trip.
And why sometimes characters will say something word for word.
I'm soaked through, down to the bone.
I'm soaked through, down to the bone.
Okay, maybe someone might say that phrase word for word if they're soaked. But what about this?
Bless my hourglass.
Bless my hourglass.
Despite working with Streamline's script, Disney deviates from it upon the first spoken words in the movie. In both the original and Streamline version, the radio talks about the upcoming weather, which is what makes Kiki change her mind to leave a month early.
Skies are going to be clearing up today thanks to a high-pressure front moving in from the continent. Mild winds will be blowing from the west at about 2 miles an hour, clearing out the clouds by this evening.
Disney's radio heavily focuses on the dirigible, which will be seen later in the movie, the Spirit of Freedom, called Freedom Adventurer in the Streamline dub. In fact, every time a radio or TV is on, all they talk about is the dirigible.
And the Freedom Adventurer, being sponsored by the World Airship Popularization Association, has left on its maiden voyage to Antarctica.
I think the excitement is building for the moment when the big blimp appears in our skies.
Well, now we'll go to Scott Paxton live from the festivities at Destin. Scott, what's going on out there?
Well, Leslie, we have got music, we have got loops.
Yes, I get it, Disney. You can foreshadow. Also, while Kiki listens to the radio in the scene, the message comes off a little heavy-handed.
There'll be a beautiful full moon lighting up the sky, so if you've been planning something special. Tonight might be the night.
We're also going to have a beautiful full moon tonight, so pack up your picnic basket because it looks like the weather for the next couple of days is going to be just fine.
Kiki made up her mind just knowing that the weather would be nice, but Disney added this line just in case you didn't understand that the weather was favorable. It's not a terrible change, and I guess it would help clarify what's going on to any kids, but I prefer the subtlety. Just a little later, another line from Kiki is replaced with some exposition.
You know ever since I turned 13, I've been excited about making this trip.
Yay, it's there. I'm so excited, like getting a gift for my birthday.
That really isn't too necessary. Streamline's is much closer in line with the original. I feel like Disney is dumbing the script down. When Kiki tries on her traditional witch's clothes, Streamline is pretty spot on, but removes mentioning Kiki's preferred color for the clothes, which is purple.
Yeah, but I wish it were a different color.
While Disney mentions lilac.
Lilac would look prettier on me, or white.
Good job. Also, I don't know where Streamline got this bit of info from.
Witch's wear has been made from this color for over 1,000 years.
There isn't anything that talks about how old this tradition is. Originally, it's just a vague mention of doing it for a long time. Streamline just kinda made it up.
Witches have worn this color for a very long time, Kiki.
I think it's to make the witches seem more mystical. Disney also puts in a little line of theirs.
Oh, Mom, I look really dumb.
Black cat, black clothes, it's all black, isn't it?
But mostly, both are similar enough. Also check out this detail.
Yeah, but I wish it were a different color.
Witch's wear had...
Streamline does this a lot throughout the movie. Sometimes a character might get interrupted, or have a more natural speaking pattern.
Oh, I've never been so scared in my...
Well, it's your fault.
I like it. It feels authentic. But considering other grammatical mistakes,
That's my girls. There's nothing works as well for my rheumatism.
I think these just might be actual mistakes left in. Another unusual mistake left in was this.
Uh-huh.
Did you hear Kiki's teeth hit together? I can't say for sure, but I think this is a result of Lisa Michelson mimicking Kiki's mouth movements a little too closely. Just as Edie Merman had odd emphasis in words when voicing Ursula.
You're beautiful just the way you are. Say, piece of cake.
This is just a personal theory of mine, and I can't prove it. Only show examples. Do you notice it, or is my mind playing tricks on me? After Kiki visits with her father, he tells her that she can return anytime she wants. But she has a very different response to that statement in both films.
You can always come home if things don't work out.
Come back to my old room? No.
If things don't work out, you can always come home.
And come back a failure? Ugh.
An interesting dialogue change. I like Disney's route here, honestly. I think it lays a good foundation for the feelings of inadequacy that Kiki feels later on. Later, when Kiki is about to leave, she is talking with her friends, and in Streamline's version, they joke about a disco being in the city she's about to go to, which is in line with the Japanese dub.
Our customs say I have to train a minimum of a year away from home.
Yeah, but they'll still have discos, won't they?
This is changed to boys in the Disney dub.
In order to be a good witch, I have to train a year away from home.
Yeah, be sure to tell that to the boys.
I don't know why it was changed though. It could be that Disney didn't find a disco to be as relatable as boys. Kiki does mention in all versions the possibility of finding a boyfriend.
And if we put it off for another month and I find some wonderful boyfriend, then what'll happen?
And if we put it off for a month and I find some wonderful boyfriend, then what'll we do?
But other than that, dating isn't entertained in the movie at all. Tombo is interested in Kiki as a friend and fellow aviator. Miyazaki even commented on their future relationship saying, quote, "I don't really think Tombo and Kiki have become romantically involved at all. I do think, however, that they will become good friends, but I sort of feel like this line was added to sway the audience into thinking that something could happen beyond the events of the movie." In the same scene that everyone sees Kiki off in, her mother urges her to take her old broom. Streamline's version has a slight personification of the brooms.
That's why I'm giving it to you. It never loses its way even in a storm because it's frightened of nothing.
And that's why it's good. You can rely on it time after time in any kind of weather.
This isn't found in the original version or Disney either. Kiki even speaks to a broom at some point later on.
Straighten up and fly right or I'm gonna burn you!
Okay, she all out threatens that broom, and it's pretty great. But it comes off as if she's actually trying to communicate with it rather than just take out general frustration.
Come on, broom, fly for me!
And I think that was the intent. This feels again like Streamline's attempt to make witches have a more mystical air about them. They have ancient practices and communicate with their brooms. It's cute, but it seems like they are trying to add some lore that isn't originally there. Another interesting change from Streamline to Disney was the removal of any religious mentions. Kiki is no longer an angel, but just special.
Be sure to thank your little friend for me. She's an absolute angel.
Your new delivery girl is really quite special.
When Kiki flies really high, Gigi no longer makes a quip about angels, but instead one about a plane.
Well, for the love of Mike, I was afraid you were going to deliver to the angels.
Well, don't look now, but that's an airplane flying under us.
The biggest change concerning this is the conversation with Ursula. Streamlined is closer to the Japanese version where Ursula says this.
The spirit of witches, the spirit of artists, the spirit of bakers. I suppose it must be a power given by God. Sometimes you suffer for it.
That same spirit is what makes me paint and makes your friend bake. But we each need to find our own inspiration, Kiki.
Disney kept the spirit part, but alluded to it being more of an inspiration rather than something bestowed onto people by God. This doesn't seem like an unusual change. Often companies do this in localizations just to be safe. The animals in both versions are also a bit different. The birds Kiki encounters chirp in Streamline's version.
I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to steal your egg.
But are voiced by Scott Menville in Disney's.
I wasn't trying to steal your eggs, really!
A move that I don't particularly like because I kind of find it distracting. They also did the same for Jeff the dog. Someone voices various grunts for him. I couldn't find who it was. It is possible that it could still be Scott Menville, but Streamline did keep him silent as in the original. I don't really mind this the same way I do the birds. Other changes that stood out to me happened towards the end of the movie, when more characters are present. While the dirigible is being blown away by a gust of wind, the news reporter says this.
I don't believe what I'm seeing! Oh, the humanity!
I think Streamline was having a bit of fun there. Disney played it more straight.
I don't believe what I'm seeing! The dirigible is being blown towards town!
Also, when Kiki needed an emergency broom to fly on, she went to this street cleaner. Streamline made him pretty helpful, if a bit confused.
Please, sir, may I borrow your broom for a minute?
Huh?
I promise I'll bring it right back to you.
Well, I suppose that's okay.
Thank you very much.
Hey!
Disney, well...
Please, sir, may I use your broom for a minute?
What?
Please, I promise I'll bring it right back.
Huh? I'm not gonna give you my broom. Hey!
Why do characters in Disney's version seem more dickish? Even Kiki is saucier than Streamline's rendition.
Oh, never mind.
Other changes include minor things like changing coffee to cocoa when Osono prepares a drink for Kiki. That seems like a cultural change that makes it more relatable to an American audience. No problem there. Both Disney and Streamline make that change from the Japanese version.
Sit down and relax, and I'll make some hot chocolate.
Sit down and relax. Would you like some hot chocolate?
There are also various effects on the vocals in two particular instances that stood out to me. Disney does the first when Tombo is on his bike and the propeller distorts his voice.
Kick off! Okay!
I wish Streamline thought of that as much as they thought of this little effect when Ursula puts this mug up to her mouth.
That must have been hard.
Yeah.
That sounds like me.
That's a Streamline exclusive. As far as the text in the movie is concerned, Streamline neglected to translate anything, a decision that Carl Macek also made for My Neighbor Totoro. He had an interesting view on translating text in a dubbed movie, finding it frivolous if the characters already spoke English. That is fine for any narrated text, but this sign isn't. Kiki's letter home is narrated, however, but only the first paragraph before the movie ends. There is a little more visible on screen that says this: "The townspeople are very kind to me, and I have made some wonderful friends." Despite this, Streamline is completely accurate in the parts that are narrated.
Regarding my work, well, it certainly seems that everything's falling into place. I'm even starting to gain some confidence. There are times when I still feel a little sad, but all in all, I sure love this town.
While Disney understood the importance of translating text, they did so very poorly. Yeah, the sign is just fine, but I'm talking about the letter here. It's not accurate at all. Not only do they remove the second paragraph of the letter, which would have been a nice little extra for anyone reading the note, they changed it so the ending is happier. Disney just couldn't stand having Kiki have issues in her life and changed it so that her business is a big success, and instead of feeling sad or depressed, she only felt homesick.
My delivery service is a big success. I've really started to gain some confidence, and everything is falling into place. There are still some times when I feel a little homesick, but all in all, I sure love this city.
I love this city.
I don't like this at all. The idea that Kiki continues to work hard but still has very persistent human issues is so much more real. It actually goes against Miyazaki's envisioned ending too. According to him, quote, "I wanted the film to leave the viewer with the impression that no matter how dispirited she gets, in the future she'll always rise above it. I didn't want to have a happily ever after ending where she achieves success in her vocation or turns into a celebrity. I really didn't want to make it a job success story." This change isn't Gigi talking levels of bad,
Kiki, can you hear me?
but it's still pretty bad, and for me, detracts from the message of the movie. The '97 Disney dub was my first exposure to Kiki's delivery service. I loved the movie then, but I'm so glad it was re-released in 2010 to more closely reflect the original vision. Before I made this video, I had never watched the Streamline version and was expecting it to have changes as extreme as they were in My Neighbor Totoro. I was really surprised to see how true it was to the original Japanese version, but was more surprised to see that Disney's 2010 re-release was the one that strayed further from the original. I prefer the Streamline version overall due to the accuracy and due to the dubbing work. I'm personally a fan of Lisa Michelson, and listening to her as Kiki was perfect. I also enjoyed Tombo and Ursula particularly, along with various other takes on characters. I don't think Disney did a bad job, even though I'm not fond of some of their choices. The voice acting work is top notch for all of the characters. I really enjoyed Kirsten as Kiki, and Phil Hartman as Gigi is peak. I will definitely be revisiting both versions of the movie down the road, but I think I may revisit Streamlines a little more often.
I'm even starting to gain some confidence. There are times when I still feel a little sad, but all in all, I sure love this town.
Thanks for sticking around to the end. If you enjoyed your stay, please consider leaving a like, smashing subscribe, or contributing a comment below. Interested in seeing more Streamline vs. Disney? Check out this comparison on My Neighbor Totoro. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you return to the Rerun Lounge.